Hey everyone, today on People Now, the lineup of new potential suitors has been announced for Clare Crawley's season of The Bachelorette. Find out who's in the new cast.
Tyra Banks joins the ballroom as the new host of Dancing with the Stars. We have details.
An inside look back at Glee star Naya Riveras' life as a loving mom.
How Will Smith and Jada Pinkett Smith saved their marriage after her entanglement with a singer.
Iconic supermodel Beverly Johnson reveals her secret to an eternal glow, overcoming racism, and finding love at every stage of life.
All that and more today on People Now. Let's go.
Hey, what's up, guys? Welcome to People Now. So good to see you. How you doing, Andrea?
I'm great, Jeremy. Hanging in there. Something that just happened, which is actually really sad, is Survivor is not doing a fall season for the first time in 40 seasons. But I know, that's big news because of the pandemic. But something I'm excited about, one of my favorite guilty pleasure TV shows is coming back, The Bachelorette. So that's kind of what we start off with today.
Yeah, there's a lot to talk about with this. Here's what you need to know what's trending. The Bachelorette's Clare Crawley getting a new set of suitors for her upcoming season. Her original men have been recast, in part including Matt James, who is now set to be the next Bachelor, of course. There are 42 contestants in total now, with 25 new additions and 17 left over from the original casting.
Yeah, so due to the coronavirus pandemic, filming for the season shut down just hours before Clare was to meet her guys. Now, months later, they're ready to start filming and find Clare a match. We can't introduce you to all 42 guys, but get your roses ready and let's meet some of her suitors now.
Here we go. From left to right, meet AJ from California, Alex from Texas, Ben from Indiana, and Bennett from Georgia.
We've also got Chasen from California, Chris from Missouri, Collins from Virginia, and Dale from South Dakota.
And introducing Montel from Massachusetts, Noah from Oklahoma, Paige from New Mexico, and Peter, also from Massachusetts. Who are your faves so far? I don't know. Are you going to root based on state or based on looks?
I'm going to, so far, I like the name Chasen.
Oh, we're going based on name. Okay, got it.
In a previous interview with ET, Bachelor and Bachelorette host Chris Harrison revealed that they expected they would have to recast the season when faced with shutting down production, saying in part, "All of our lives are turned upside down, so it's naive to think that all of these guys are going to be able to come back and pick right back up where we left off." And he added, "We are going to continue casting."
And Bachelor Nation was already rooting for a recast anyway, criticizing many of Clare's original suitors for being too young since Clare herself is 39. Chris Harrison even admitted that he was hoping to see more age-appropriate contestants in the new group, which now includes men ranging from 25 to 40 years old. The Bachelorette is expected to air on Tuesdays this fall. Of course, we cannot wait.
And in more TV news, Tyra Banks has entered the ballroom. The supermodel has been named the new host and executive producer for Dancing with the Stars. ABC announced the news on Tuesday in a press release obtained by People, while Banks revealed in a statement of her own that she is, quote, "excited to continue the legacy and put on my executive producer and hosting hats."
Banks says that she's been a fan since the show began, explaining that being able to watch celebrities push past their comfort zones has always transported her back to her days of, quote, turning it up 10 notches on the catwalk. Now, the new season with Banks is set to premiere this fall, and this news all comes one day after ABC and BBC Studios announced that Tom Bergeron and his co-host Erin Andrews would be parting ways with the show. Bergeron has hosted Dancing with the Stars since its premiere in 2005, while Andrews joined as a co-host in 2014.
Bergeron reacted to his departure on Twitter, writing in part, "It's been an incredible 15-year run and the most unexpected gift of my career." He also joked about not knowing what to do with all of his glitter masks. It's really funny. Meanwhile, Andrews thanked the cast and crew of Dancing with the Stars with an Instagram post, writing in part, "I will always cherish my days on set, even if I wasn't the best at walking in heels." Ivanka Trump is facing backlash after she tweeted a photo of herself posing with a can of Goya beans. And one of the people calling her out for the post is Chrissy Teigen. On Tuesday, the president's daughter, who's also one of his presidential advisors, tweeted a photo of herself smiling with the canned product, with Goya's slogan in the caption, "If it's Goya, it has to be good." She even included the Spanish translation of that slogan in the tweet. Now, this comes after Goya Food CEO Robert Unanue made headlines when he praised Trump during a press conference at the White House last week, saying in part, quote, "We are all truly blessed to have a leader like Trump." His comments sparked quite a bit of outrage, particularly among the Hispanic and Latinx community. Teigen was among the celebrities to speak out against Goya and advise her followers to shop responsibly in the wake of those comments. And now she also has a few words about Ivanka's recent post. In her tweet, Teigen wrote, Had it with anyone who ever defends this woman or puts her as the sane one in his family. What a repulsive trolling of the people. Tegan then questioned, quote, "In the sea of illegal bleep this family does, is this even ethically okay or legal?" Well, according to U.S. law, it's not. Governmental ethics laws say that federal employees cannot use their position or title to, quote, endorse any product or enterprise. Unanue has since responded to the backlash against him, saying that he will not walk back his comments. As part of the Hispanic Prosperity Initiative executive order, which was the focus of last week's press conference, Goya announced its plans to donate 1 million cans of chickpeas and 1 million pounds of food products to food banks across the U.S. to benefit those impacted by the coronavirus pandemic.
In this week's People Cover story, we're celebrating the life of actress Kelly Preston, who died at 57 years old on Sunday after a 2-year battle with breast cancer.
We go inside the deep bond she had with her husband of 29 years, John Travolta, plus how he and their children are honoring her courageous, strong, and beautiful legacy. For that and more, check out this week's issue of People, out on Friday. And now we move on to more stories from the issue.
We're learning more about how Naya Riveras' friends and family are coping with the loss of the 33-year-old actress. Riveras started her career at just 5 years old on the show Family Matters before finding fame as the outspoken cheerleader Santana Lopez on Fox's hit series Glee.
A source tells People that back in the day, her life was all about her career, but once she became a mother, that changed. The source says it was all about acting, singing, using her platform for equal rights, empowerment, and anti-bullying. But her priorities shifted. She was working less, not because she didn't want to work, but because her son came first. Another source adds, you could tell she loved being a mom. She was always so sweet.
Riveras' ex-husband, Ryan Dorsey, who is the father of her 4-year-old son, Josie, is still reeling from the news. The duo were married from 2014 to 2018. A source tells us Ryan has barely slept. It's just a nightmare, although he wasn't with Naya. It's Josie's mom, and Josie needs his mom. Ryan can't imagine raising Josie without Naya. It's the most devastating situation. That's according to the source. And that source explains that Dorsey and Josie have spent every day since Rivera first disappeared with her family. And says, quote, they are all supporting each other while also taking care of Josie.
Authorities say Monday that they believe Rivera died saving Josie. The Ventura County Sheriff said at a news conference that the two were swimming together and Rivera boosted him onto the deck from behind. Josie then told authorities that he looked back and saw her disappear under the surface of the water. The sheriff said, quote, she mustered enough energy to get her son back onto the boat, but not enough to save herself. For more about this story, check out this week's issue of People, available on Friday.
Will Smith and Jada Pinkett Smith's revealing Red Table Talk conversation may have easily set a record for the most views in 24 hours for a Facebook Watch original episode. You gotta say, we were all entertained and intrigued, but for the couple, the reality of saving their marriage was tough.
In this week's issue of People, a source close to the Smiths says their marital problems were not unique, but those issues were exacerbated by their fame. The source explains that the couple are two different people trying to make it, but there's a huge spotlight on them. The source adds, quote, people are always going to grow and change, but most don't have the world watching their every move.
And while the source says that Will felt more of the pressure to make their marriage work, a friend of Jada adds that the actress has never fallen out of love with him. That source continues saying she would be the first person to admit marriage is hard work, but she will always love Will.
The couple revealed in that Red Table Talk episode that they had briefly separated several years ago. Now, during that time, Jada found herself in a, quote, different kind of entanglement, that's what she said, with her friend and singer, August Alsina, who revealed their romantic relationship in an interview 2 weeks ago.
Jada did confirm that she was, in fact, in a relationship with August, but eventually, Will and Jada were able to reconcile and save their marriage. During the chat, Jada added that she and Will have reached a new place of unconditional love, while Will said that his wife has his support till death.
With their relationship back on track, the couple is still redefining what it means to be husband and wife. And although their union is unconventional, sources say they've always been on the same page when it comes to parenting. According to Jada's friend, they are both very protective of their kids, Jaden and Willow, and they are both very proud of them.
All right, stay with us. My Cat from Hell host Jackson Galaxy is giving us the meow down, look out, on how cat owners can improve their relationships with their felines while in self-isolation. Plus, Will Sasso and Christina Vidal are sharing the scoop on some of the laughs from their new ABC comedy, United We Fall.
In this week's issue of People, actress and businesswoman Gabrielle Union is taking us inside the comeback of her beauty line and her life-raising strong daughters with the help from her husband, NBA star Dwayne Wade.
When asked why this was the time to bring back her beauty line Flawless, Gabrielle reflected on how the timing of the line's first launch was, in her words, the worst. She explains, quote, multiple rounds of IVF left me with bald spots on my head. I felt like a fraud selling products. Now I have my hair back and a line that's accessible to our black textured hair audience. Flawless drops on Amazon in early August, so you can check it out.
These days, Gabrielle is mom to baby Kavya and stepmom to Dwayne's daughter, Zaya. And when it comes to teaching them to take pride in their hair, she tells us in part, it has to start with self-love and pride in your blackness and in your Afrocentric features, because it's all beautiful.
The actress has always been open about her life, which obviously takes great strength if you're doing it in the public eye. She says that she thinks that strength comes from the kindness of strangers, just being at the grocery store and seeing a mom who gives you that eye contact like, you got this, girl. I love that. It really is true. A little kindness can go a long way.
Life has thrown us one of the biggest challenges we could have ever imagined, and animals are stuck at home with their guardians 24 hours a day.
Oh, nope.
This could be a blessing for some,
A lot of people have stepped up and adopted animals. I was shocked.
a curse for others,
Watson can cut, bite, and latch on really tough.
and enough to make many go cat crazy. Armed with only a computer.
Galaxy!
I've got you guys on surveillance here. And a phone. I'm about to embark on one of the biggest challenges of my career. Oh, dude. Helping humans
I keep wondering what I am doing wrong.
help their cats from my own home.
Cat expert Jackson Galaxy is here to help in this perfect 1 hour special. I caught up with him and we talked all things feline, including how you can help your furry friends or maybe make a new one during this time. Watch. Something people forget about is you have to remember animals and their mental health as well. It's just like with humans, especially if you're all together, you're cooped up. I mean, how are your animals doing in handling isolation?
I gotta say, I mean, I think our cats are doing better than our dogs. We have 3 dogs also, along with 7 cats, and the dogs really need a lot more when it comes to reassurance and everything. And I've just noticed they've been jumpier. You know, I'm a little nervous about walking, you know, too much. I know that that's probably as long as I'm wearing a mask, but you know, that's just my personal thing. And no, the dogs have definitely been high maintenance. The cats, they're pretty chill.
Wow, so your cats are just chilling.
You know, I would hope at this point, I would hope that I wouldn't be that guy whose cats are all like
You're also a
insane.
cat expert, so I would hope that your cats
Exactly.
are good.
Yeah, no, I mean, that's the thing. I will gladly admit that my dog, you know, acumen is not what it could be, but with cats, I better know what's going on, you know?
Yeah. It leads us to your 1 hour special, which I got to watch, which I really loved. It's called My Cat from Hell. So talk to us about handling these crazy cats virtually, because this is a whole different element here.
Well, per usual, first of all, the people are normally a little more crazy than the cats are. That's usually how it plays out. But no, I mean, the whole thing was filmed, you know, pretty much in my house. We did it with phones and Zoom, and I had some surveillance cams up around me and around the clients. And yeah, no, it was a definite challenge. I'm used to being able to touch the cats, to be able to get into their world, and I can't do it now. And at first it was frustrating, but then I found some silver linings. I mean, they're you know, being apart, not having a film crew in someone's house is actually kind of an advantage when it comes to cats.
Wow. Yeah, I guess I didn't think about that. So besides not being with them, you know, having to do this virtually, what else was one of the bigger challenges that you faced with this batch of cats?
I mean, honestly, I think that there was circumstances that none of us have ever had to deal with before. So I'm trying to adapt to what I know about cats when the home life is completely upside down. And also, I honestly think that the humans in this case, and all of our insecurities, whether it's job insecurities, whether it's our relationships straining under the weight of us being together all the time, that the cats are like energetic sponges. They take it all in and then they put it back out again. Sometimes it's not, you know, the way we want it to. But yeah, all of it was an adjustment.
So for all the cat parents out there that are watching right now, what are some basic things that they can do to help their pets during this time?
I think that staying in a rhythm, I think making sure that there's not this sense of sort of familial anarchy happening, I think is a big deal. And I think that it helps us as well as them, but cats are slaves to rhythms. They need to know that every day is going to look like the next. And hey, what else do we have to do? Let's try to keep that going, feed them at the same time, play with your cats. I can't say that enough. Play with your cats. It's not just play, it's therapy for them. So giving them that exercise, I think, is really paramount, but staying in rhythm too.
Yeah, so you are the cat expert. You've seen everything. Have you ever met a cat that has given you, whose behavior has given you pause? Pun intended.
Pause? Yeah, thanks. I think I've had to experience a lot of pauses. I mean, I've been at it for almost 30 years, so that you definitely come against some things that you can't explain, and everybody wants it to be explained. And I think that that's the hardest part, is that there are times, a lot of times, where I can feel what's going on for these guys, but I just can't put it into English. So. But that said, I mean, there have been a few. In My Cat from Hell, we had one cat he was the famous 911 cat, where I don't know if you ever saw this one, where the family called 911. This is up in Portland. Called 911. They were all locked in the bathroom because the cat was like just out of his mind and throwing his body against the bathroom door. And they called me up there, and he was, his name was Lux, and I wound up working with him for a long, long time and taking him out of that family, trying to place him again. And he was always throwing me curveballs for as long as I knew him, but he was a sweet boy.
Yeah, I love that you have all this love for these cats too, because some people don't have the patience for it. And it seems like you can really help all cats, which I think is wonderful. Another thing that's been really cool is during this time, we've been hearing how a lot of adoption centers have been cleaned out for the first time in years. People are taking in these furry friends. I mean, how else can people help out cats during this time?
I was gonna say, I mean, I definitely didn't want it to seem to all you guys out there who wanted to bring in a new animal at this point that it's all crazy, that it's all, we're driving each other nuts. There is something to be said about rescuing somebody with no home, or fostering for the first time. It's a huge deal, because shelters are on lockdown. A lot of them are, and it makes it impossible to take in more animals and adopt them out. So there's definitely, I mean, if you've got a room in your home where you can start the introduction, do it slowly, do it the right way. And of course, I have a lot of videos where I can teach you how to do that kind of thing. There's no reason why you shouldn't try it, because there's nothing like the feeling of giving someone love when you are freaking out. It brings you back in your body. It brings your energy back where it needs to be. It's been amazing. So many people are doing it for the first time, and it makes me feel great.
Iconic supermodel Beverly Johnson is revealing in this week's issue of People what she knows now about life, love, and her career.
She tells us that when she first started modeling, people would tell her she had 5 or 6 years tops, but she says she wanted to prove them wrong, and she did just that. Her drive fueled a career spanning 50 years and more than 500 magazine covers. And for Johnson's eternal glow, she credits avocado oil. She tells us she puts it everywhere and says it's her fountain of youth.
Johnson is opening up about her first encounter with racism. As a young girl growing up in Buffalo, New York, she says she was riding her bike in a white neighborhood at around 12 or 13 years old when kids, quote, started throwing soda pop bottles at us. They called us the N-word, the first time I ever heard it. That was her quote.
And while she says that moment chipped away a little piece of her heart, it also made her more determined than ever.
Yeah, she landed the cover of Vogue in 1974. She says that the cover came with huge responsibility and inspired her to use her voice. And she's used her voice ever since by speaking out about her struggles with addiction and eating disorder and depression.
Now she's speaking out about the fashion industry's history of, quote, racism and exclusion. She penned an op-ed in the Washington Post and says, "I've always spoken about race. This time people are listening."
Johnson is also sharing about those who inspire her, including her mother, Gloria Johnson, who she says dreamed of modeling herself, but there were no black models back then. Johnson adds that her mother made sure she always followed her dreams. Another inspiration is her daughter, Anansa Sims, who is a plus-size model, as well as Arthur Ashe, the first Black Wimbledon winner, who Johnson dated in the early 70s.
But now she has a new man in her life, her fiance, Brian Myland, a 70-year-old financier. Yep, she's engaged. And Johnson says, quote, "It's great to be with someone who knows the same songs and lived through the same things." She says when he got down on one knee, she was sobbing, telling us, "He wanted to buy me a ring, but I said, I don't want a diamond, let's buy a house."
In this week's issue of People, Saturday Night Live star Colin Jost is opening up about his new memoir in which he reveals how he landed his dream job, his dream girl, and his dream life.
But even with all those stars aligning, Colin tells us he still doesn't think of himself as famous. The comedian says that he has spent so much time behind the scenes that it's strange being recognized, explaining he is still surprised anyone cares about anything he does.
But it was when he fell in love with his dream girl, actress Scarlett Johansson, that he became an even bigger target for the paparazzi. He says that he's gotten more self-conscious about seeing photos of himself with his fiancée, adding, quote, "It can sometimes be creepy."
Colin is really open about their relationship and how it's a relief to have found someone he can truly be himself with. He explains that you always hear how marriage or relationships are hard, but he says they don't have to be all the time. He tells people they can be fun and easy too, saying that the goal should be, quote, "that your lives are better together rather than more difficult." That's relationship goals, Jeremy.
That's right. And Colin is, by the way, career goals too, with one of the longest writing careers in SNL history. And everyone has their career highlights. For him, it's when Betty White hosted SNL with Jay-Z as the musical guest. That was back in May of 2010. Epic episode for sure. He calls Betty and Jay the funniest pairing, remembering how both of them were great and that the energy of that night really made it a great moment in time, as he put it.
Colin grew up in Staten Island, one of the boroughs of New York City, and in the issue, he reveals that he actually worked really hard to get rid of his Staten Island accent, but admits that certain words or maybe a little drinking can still bring it out. But on the flip side, Colin says that he worked so hard not to have that accent that when he needs it, it actually takes him a minute to remember how to do it. I can relate to that because when I drink, the Wisconsin accent comes out, and being at home in Wisconsin, it comes out, and
oh no.
Oh gosh, it's bad. But I love it. For more from Colin Jost, pick up this week's issue of People on Newsstands Friday.
All right, guys, Christina Vidal and Will Sasso both star in the new ABC sitcom called United We Fall. It follows the lives of Bill and Joe and their two young kids. Perfect summer show to dive into. A lot of us still looking for new content these days. And both Christina and Will join me now. Thank you for being here, guys. Good to see you.
Thanks for having us.
Will, I just got to start with this. The new puppy.
Yeah.
I saw you posted about you found this puppy, rescued the dog literally off the road, I think.
Literally off the road. Myself and my girlfriend were driving back from Northern California. We pulled over in Central California just to gas up. We're chasing this big dog around. Make a long story short, it was like near the freeway. We were all super scared and stuff. Couldn't coax him. Finally, it was night. The damn dog took off. And this little bugger who's over there chewing on the couch.
I saw him walk by a little earlier, yeah.
Lulio, come here. Hey, you. He doesn't know who I am yet. But literally, we're about to take off, and my girlfriend's like, stop, there's another one. And this little guy, you know, ticks, fleas, kind of filthy, still has both of his nuts. And anyway, it's unbelievable. And I wanted a puppy. And my girlfriend, she's the dog person. We have another dog. I'm going to wrap this up. She just goes, don't worry about the puppy. Like, dogs come into your life and la, la, la. And then it happened. Get over here.
And there it is. And you're in love. There you go.
I love the little guy.
That's so great. Christina, do you have pets while he goes and finds a dog?
I have one dog, yes.
Oh, do you? What's it say? Oh, there we go. Look at this.
He's outside right now. Oh, my goodness.
Oh, that is the most adorable little puppy.
Oh, my gosh. I can't believe you just found him. He's really cute.
Let's talk about this really quickly. Look, the show has themes and stories that are kind of loosely based on the creator and executive producer's life, right? Julius Sharp. Talk to me about some of the stories that stand out to you that as you discovered, wait, this really happened? Maybe something that really stuck out. Christina, do you have anything?
Well, I don't want to give anything away.
Yeah, I know, right? Like, it's
but
the
I
best
know
stuff.
it's so tough. But I will say, I won't take the most obvious one. There was one that I was like, oh my gosh, that happened and they didn't die?
Oh, wow, okay.
Seriously?
And there's also those complicated family dynamics. And Christina, I wonder about that, if there's anything about that part of it that you think is really going to resonate with viewers.
Yes, I think that we can all relate to complicated family dynamics, especially with in-laws. And, this sort of, they mean well, they always mean well, but they sort of have their own perception or opinion of what good parenting is. And I think everyone, at least all the parents I know and married couples I know, can relate to that being a sticky widget, for lack of a better term.
I'm at my in-laws right now. Are you guys listening? Listen up. I'm just kidding. I love them. Let's talk, Will, from you. What's your perspective on those family dynamics before I get kicked out of here?
No, it's an interesting show with regard to the family dynamic for the reasons that it was when we shot it, which was last fall. And now, in hindsight, and with respect to what everyone's going through, collectively and independently, it's to me, it's like it's sort of a necessary message. What's gone from something that's relatable is now, a show that if people find it relatable, will hopefully remind them of the way things were. And yeah, I have Bill's mother lives with Bill and Joe, played by the incredible and legendary Jane Curtin. And yeah, she's all the way up in them and annoying all the time. And if you think about it, if you think about it now, as I think about it, it's like, oh, well, who wouldn't want their family around them at a time like this?
Absolutely.
So there's a nice sort of duality there that was not something that we intended on, obviously, but because it's a show that is meant to be an escape, something that's relatable for families and people in families, and meant to make you laugh and forget about things for a half hour. There are elements now that are more interesting, given what we're going through.
Christina, it is actually interesting to think about that. I mean, many people remember your first major role starring alongside Michael J. Fox, Life with Mikey, right? So you had that, you kind of broke up there a little bit, but you had that, you got that, what it means to be a kid on a set. You know what that's like. Yes. Did you pass along any advice to them, to the young co-stars, about like, hey, listen, this helped me out when I was, a kid and in this environment?
I did actually, to Ella, who plays our oldest daughter. And it was actually more to her mom, but she was there. But yeah, I passed along some advice, and just basically to have fun and be nice to people and don't take anything too seriously, which I think Ella already has down.
That's awesome that you're able to kind of have that kind of insight for them. And since we're there, you were what, 12 then? I wonder if you ever have crossed paths again with Michael J. Fox or anybody from that film that you connect with?
I wish. I wish I could cross paths with him, Cyndi Lauper, Nathan Lane. I didn't know who I was working with when I was a kid, and now I'm like, dang it, girl.
That's kind of wild, right? Like, it's happening when you're 12 years old, no concept.
Yeah, none whatsoever.
Will, let's talk about this. You were such a major part of Mad TV. So many great comedians came from that, and you included in all of that. Like, talk to me about what you look back on as maybe a most fond moment from that.
Oh, man. I mean, we were mushed together all day, 5 days a week, coming up with comedy, and it was just a very fast comedy factory that, I mean, it was a blast. There's no other way to describe it. I mean, some of the funniest people, just to watch them, and I mean, you talk about things happening behind the scenes, like there's so much stuff that it was like, oh, we couldn't even put this on the show, but I'm peeing myself. I don't know. There's no one memory over others. Nice.
Get crazy.
Watch out.
Let's easy. Careful.
You're good.
You're all good.
You're totally good.
You actually are all completely good.
You're good. You were sitting back on the chair. It
was a near miss.
Yeah.
Oh my God. You guys are
near miss. We're all good.
No, stop. It's all good. Please leave that in.
One of those YouTube videos of a Zoom meeting gone wrong.
Let me just say this: the Zoom meeting that almost went wrong. It was fine. That was fine.
Yeah.
Okay,
just so you know, that was fine.
Okay.
Yeah.
Near miss.
That was all special effects, people. This is the sort of fun, stuff that happens when you have a TV show. You do these little gags. You try to get on the internet.
Just wait until you see what happens on United We Fall, everybody.
Right, it's wacky.
Just while we're hitting on old things, Alex Borstein, Marvelous Mrs. Maisel, as you see her in that role, is it kind of like, oh yeah, absolutely would have seen that coming 1,000 miles away? What have you made of that evolution?
I mean, Alex is one of the funniest people on the planet, period. And, one of my absolute best friends in real life. And to watch her in a role that look, it's not just that, like, she was born to play. Amy Sherman Palladino is they go way back. They did, Alex did worked with her before on Gilmore Girls and stuff, and they've been friends for years. And that was the story that Amy went to her, like, I've got the role for you. And to watch it happen is like, she's so perfect for it, and so many parts of her character are from her. So it's a gas to watch, and it's also really lovely to see to have people see how incredibly talented my friend is.
Mad TV reboot, could it happen?
It seems like now everybody's putting things back together. Like, Mad About You is out there. I'm sure the kids are enjoying that. I mean, I don't know. They could wrangle everybody together, write a couple of sketches. I'd do it.
Guys, it's very good to talk to you. Thank you for taking some time today.
Cheers.
Guys, be sure to check out United We Fall Wednesday nights on ABC.
Oh no.
You.
Oh, it happened again.
Oh my God.
All right, guys, coming up tomorrow, Charmed and Descendants star Sarah Jeffrey joins us to tell us all about her new single.
Plus, grab your makeup brushes. Celebrity makeup artist Bobbi Brown is showing us how to achieve the perfect summer look. I actually did some of her tips today, Jeremy. Do you notice?
Ooh, very fresh, very beachy. Yeah,
Very
summer, good time,
summery.
Andrea.
All right, thank you so much for watching. We'll see you back here tomorrow.
Bye, guys.